Hello there. This is Professor Orr, and I'm creating a little video to give you just a quick orientation on how the Literature by Women course works. What I wanted you to know is that I think I'm going to assume that you know how to take an online course if you're signing up for this, and that you know something about how to get into web study. But I am going to point out that this is how you get help. You can use technical support, you can email our help desk, or you can always go directly to web study, which is this 188 number, which you'll see there, and you'll also see posted here. All right. Some of you are students who are registered for English 207, and some of you have registered as Women's Studies 207. I'm putting everything in the English 207 course because that's where the majority of students have registered. This is our front page, and on the dashboard normally you'll see if something comes up that you haven't seen before, a new forum, or if you have information that I posted for you. This is me. If you run into me on campus, you will recognize me because that is a pretty recent photo. Although I have joined Weight Watchers, so I hope to be thinner when you run into me. All right, what do I want to show you next? The timeline drives the course, and I'm sure that's been true for all the courses that you've taken. And what you can see here are 15 weeks. The 15th week obviously being when you do your final project. So to look at what the course is all about, I'm going to expand everything. And why this is, okay, I know what I'm doing. I didn't click the right button. All right, so first thing I want you to look at is the orientation session. And I want you to post an introduction. I'm going to show you here the calendar due date is the only date you really need to worry about. All of your assignments are posted. So you can see that right away you're going to have to post a welcome and introductions. We're starting on Monday, so by Wednesday you should be able to introduce yourself. The other thing you have is an open forum. And in this forum, I want you to be able to ask questions. This is where you ask questions or make comments. And if you notice here, if I wanted to add something to that, all I would have to do is edit. This is handy because we're all busy. You could start an assignment and something important could interrupt you. So you'd be able to hit submit and then come back to this and finish it later. You just want to make sure that when we get to the time that your assignment is due, that I have your final version here. All right, and you can ask questions in the open forum, you can make comments. Let's say someone asks a question, you know the answer to it, and I haven't answered it yet. It's fine if you want to go on and answer the question. If you want to get on there and there's something that you want to complain about, go right ahead and complain about it. There might be a story you don't like, you might be unclear about an assignment. All right. And by the way, I hope I mentioned that all of you will be in the same course shell, regardless of whether or not you came through the Women's Studies option or you came through as an English person. All right. Having said that, now we're going to go back to the timeline. And I just want to show you one more thing here. And of course, my computer's a little slow. I'm using CenturyLink. And it's not fast at school either, so we're just going to have to bear with me here. In this particular course, as you know, it's 15 weeks. You're going to go through and you can see each module has learning objectives. Those learning objectives basically are derived from the larger objectives on the course syllabus, which is in the first module. You can look that up and read it on your own. And you can see that I have a form, which is an assignment here. I have noteworthy work by students. As you're doing work, periodically I might post something that I think is especially well written, is especially insightful, or is just quirky and unusual. And there will be all different kinds of posts by noteworthy posts. Here I'm giving you a material, which is why I wrote the yellow wallpaper, and this is going to really help you because it's part of your assignment. You see the readings include the yellow wallpaper and why I wrote it. And so I put the link to why I wrote it right here. So each module will have a variety of materials for you, some modules more than others. And here I've got learning objectives for the course, for this particular module in the course. You have one assignment per module, and that should be very manageable. Hopefully I have an open forum in every module. I'm pretty sure I've checked and done that. And some modules you'll find that you respond to, some you won't particularly care for. That's just sort of the nature of the beast. Often students say to me when I read literature, I have my opinion, and isn't my opinion always right? If you're talking about interpreting literature for your own enjoyment, yes. If you're talking about interpreting literature from an academic point of view, there are wrong answers. There are also many right answers. There's more than one way to answer a question correctly, which is why I allow for short answer essays. So if you find that you're having trouble, you may want to contact me. And what you're going to see here is the final project. What I do is I have the last assignment on March 13th, and then the end of the course is March 24th. So I give you time to do that final project, and I give you more than one option so you can decide which option you're more comfortable with. So this is really your last regular course assignment, and then you'll have spring break week. Not that you want to be working this on spring break week, but you'll have a little bit more time to do that final assignment. All assignments are due at 11:55 p.m. and because this is a short course, we've got different days. I think I tried to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but you can map that up. I know some of you are S's and J's on the Myers-Briggs, so I know that you'll create a map for yourself that'll make it easier for you to find. All right, the other thing that students are always interested in knowing is what about grades? And by the way, you will not see these grade tabs. You will not see these tabs. I'm going to click on grades. I've been having a little trouble with this. So perhaps what I'm going to do is go out of the course and show you another course where there actually are some grades. And I can see that I'm having a little trouble here. There we go. All right. So I'm going to last semester, and I'll take you into, and maybe I'll go to my last women's studies course or another lit course. Yes. All right. Last spring I taught literature by women. And what you'll see here in the grades is you'll see how the course is weighted. The weekly assignments were 90% of the course. All right, so I want to pick somebody who I am absolutely certain had an A at the end of the course, and I think Steve did. So we're going to open his grade book. Just so you can get a sense of how it works. All right, so here are all the assignments. He was really obviously an amazing student. He got a 98% in the course, and his final project was an A. Notice up here that you have something that says your grade so far. This is different. Web Study has updated their grade book, so it should be easier to see what your running average is. And I want to point that out to you because when you log in on the first day and you look at your grades, and we're going to go right in here and I'm going to show you your grades right now. I'm going to take Carly, open the grade book, and she's got an F. However, Carly, I'm speaking to you since I know you're the guinea pig here, and I mean that metaphorically, obviously. Your grade so far is a 0, but as soon as you post an assignment, then that average will change. So what I'm going to do is I can test that out and show you. So, but don't be alarmed if you see an F when you first start out, because you've got no grades, you've got a 0. Once you start recording grades, unless you get zeros. And that's another point I want to make. You will see a grade. I do not give zeros for assignments. So if you see a zero and you've submitted it, you've submitted your work on time, obviously there's an error. And I am human. Sometimes when we're posting these, it's easy to click the release button to release the grade. And so just shoot me a private email and I will happily check that for you as quickly as I can. I know how important grades are to you. All right, there is a weight to the assignments. I'm going to go back to the grade book. Assignments are weighted, so your weekly assignments, actually I'm going to make this 80% of your grade, and your final project will be worth 20% of your grade. I'm going to adjust that. There are a couple little things that I want to do to tweak this. All right, I hope that gives you a pretty thorough introduction to the course. If you have questions for me, obviously please use the open forum. You may email me, and please always email me in Web Study. When I get home at night and I check my email, I'm checking the Web Study email because I'm interested in emails from you. I'm not so interested in getting emails from the college when I get home at night because it's usually about a meeting or something something that can wait until the next day. So if you send an email to the college email, you'll have to wait, and it might be something I can take care of very easily if I check it at night. All right, I hope that answers all your questions. I'm looking forward to meeting you in the course.